tasters. Welcome everybody. My name is April and my spirits and I together, we are called Astré Astoundance. And I went ahead and shuffled and I pulled upon the collective energies for this week, and that's 7/14 to 7/21. That's Monday to Monday, asking your angels and your guides and your ancestors, hey, what do you have to say for those that are watching today? Now, your job is to please choose at least one or more out of these three sets that you see here before you. One or more if you feel divinely guided to do so. That is okay too. But this is all based on your own intuition. All right, everybody. And here we go. All right, dolls, as you all know, I work from left to right. So for those of you that chose pair number one, which is this set right here, let's go ahead and turn over the first card of the set and see what your guides, angels, and ancestors have to say. And the message is home, okay? So we are still in the midst of Cancer season, and home truly is where the heart is, right? But what does home mean to you? So Cancer season is all about security and safety. So many of you might be, for those of you that chose pair number one, might be kind of wondering what home means to you. But also at the same time, home could mean with friends, with family, with your husband, your partner, your wife, your community. Some of you feel a bit maybe misplaced, or you're like, gosh, you know, this isn't resonating with me anymore, or else this card wouldn't really be showing up. So maybe some of you are moving, maybe some of you are in the midst of some kind of like massive change. Maybe some of you are leaving the country, leaving the state. So let's see what the detailed message is here, and I'll get into it a little bit further. Okay, the detailed message is, let's see what Spirit has to say. Weighing options. Okay, so perhaps you are looking into some options in terms of regarding what home means to you. Again, Cancer season is truly, sorry for the lighting, Cancer season is truly what home means to you, about security and safety, like-minded friends, community, where everybody's kind of like, you know, in the midst of being on the same page. Also, home is like where you must like consider or factor in where you don't feel safe. And that is a big, strong indication of where there needs to be some much needed change. Okay. So you must be weighing out options like the city, the state, like where am I going? Am I leaving the country? So there might be some changes here going on in your domestic situation, and pay attention to the number 2. So think about themes going on in twos. Maybe this is about you and your partner. It's a coupling. Maybe, you know, a couple people here are moving in together, whether this is friend or this is boyfriend, girlfriend type thing. You know, this definitely feels like it could be very well leading to a partnership. But also keep in mind too, your environment, like where you live, where your soul is housed, right? So think about your body too. Your environment is also your body. So that is your home. So maybe you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable within yourself, and you need to kind of like check some things out, and maybe some changes with your health. We just recently had this full moon in Capricorn, and so that we've been really taking inventory of a lot of things that don't work and a lot of things that do work. A lot of karmic chapters are closing, and so now you might be faced with some opportunity here to change something, and it may have something to do with where you live or your health, you know, your body, things like that. But I can see you definitely weighing out some options in terms of what to do going forward. So in mind too, there may be some dynamic in the home changing. So there might be someone that's either moving out or moving in. Okay, there might be you know, a graduate that's leaving home going to college. I mean, this is just one way to look at it. The other thing is you might be weighing out options in terms of, you know, maybe a roommate situation. You're trying to figure out like what you can afford, what's sustainable, what isn't sustainable. Okay. Keep in mind the home is where you feel most secure. So there could be some financial things kind of being like disclosed. I feel like there might be some new information or some unexpected changes, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to figure out what to do. Maybe a roommate's moving out of nowhere and you just got like this last minute notice. I mean, Uranus has moved into Gemini, so kind of expect the unexpected. Keep in mind, we have a new moon in Leo that is coming on July 24th. And I always like to think about the days leading, like themes in those days that are leading into that new moon energy on the 24th. And I know that this is Monday to Monday's energy report. So obviously that's the 14th to the 21st, but something could be brewing right before that new moon on the 24th. So pay attention to a lot going on in this bracket of time for the collective energy report from 7/14 to 7/21, because something is going on in the home and there's a lot of change, but I'm hearing from spirit necessary change, like unexpected, sort of like sudden, but also necessary change. Really interesting too is that new moon in Leo coming in on the 24th is also coming in at a 2 degree, right? So we got a 2 here too as well. Don't overthink this, don't underthink this, just meet spirit, the guides, angels, and ancestors halfway, but there might be something to this. Also, pay attention to themes going backwards, like all the way to February. February is a 2 month, or maybe this is regarding an Aquarius or Pisces, because Aquarius and Pisces, you know, that energy is in the 2 month, which is February. Okay, just something else to think about. But keep in mind too, there might be some weighing options for renovations, like home renovations, home decorating, things like this, or people that are kind of doing a whole fitness program. And I bring this up because we just had a Capricorn full moon just transpire very recently. And that was coming in at a 18 degree, which is a Virgo degree, which is all about health and well-being. So that's your physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, and spiritual well-being. When we think of well-being, I always include the 4 sacred rooms, which are the 4 things I just said right there. So this is just something to think about. So that you might be doing some renovations within the inside of your spirit, you know, within the way you think, old patterns, old tapes, right? Within the emotional well-being, your physical body even, and your spiritual world, right? So environment means a lot, including how you feel inside your body, inside your mind, inside your emotional well-being, inside your spiritual world. So pay attention to what home truly means to you in the midst of Cancer season as we wrap it up, leading to you know, we're almost right to the tail end here as we move throughout the energies this week. The thing that Spirit is getting into some details about is I keep hearing something about like the internet or networking or groups. Like maybe you guys are finding a different group of people or a community on applications, social media, things like that, and you're starting to kind of venture out. I mean, Pluto is an Aquarius, and a lot of people are really trying to figure out their, you know, their world and the space that they want to be in. So some of you could be exploring different communities on different social media platforms to find what clicks or resonates with you, and you're weighing out options. You know, maybe there's more than 2 platforms, maybe there's 2, I don't know. Maybe there's 2 people involved. You're looking for another type of community to merge with, or maybe simply you're just in the neighborhood and you're just trying to figure out, you know, like you're trying to get to know other people in your neighborhood and you just moved, things like this. Again, if this doesn't click or resonate, may click or resonate to someone close to you. But, you know, Cancer, the energy of Cancer and just being in the midst of Cancer season, I also feel like a deep influence of the ancestral lineage that's moving through you. So you may be feeling like really divinely led to a certain area, especially if you do astrocartography. And there may be 2 or more people involved, or 2 people involved with this type of change or transition. So, but anyhow, this is what I got for those of you that chose pair number 1. And keep in mind, I know a lot of people like to play with numbers. This number is 27. That's for the booklet, right? But if it resonates with you or the number stands out to you, maybe it's like you're moving and that 27 stands out to you because that's like part of your address to your new address. So I allow, you know, my viewers to just kind of put together what they feel clicks or resonate. And as we go forward too with the 2, think about anything or themes coming up around home or movement or change with where you live. You know, 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, or go back to 2, which again is a February month, or 2 months going backwards, themes of that time frame, 2 days going backwards from this energy report from 714 to 721, and so on. Okay, and that's what I got again for those of you that chose pair number 1. All right, dolls, and for those of you that chose pair number 2, which is this set right here, let's turn over the first card of the set and see what your guides, angels, and ancestors have to say. And the first card of this set for this pair number 2 is Dry Desert. Okay, so looks are often deceiving, right? Because you might be perceiving things as something that is difficult or dried up. And I feel like this kind of feels in some ways for the creatives like there might be like a writer's block. Some circumstance in your life, people, places, and things, like something that you're aiming for. I keep getting business stuff. So I don't know, maybe someone that's watching is trying to start a business, or they are, you know, trying to do some entrepreneur work, things like this. And, or maybe you feel like you're at a crossroads with your career and you're just like, now what do I do? I came, I saw, I conquered, now what? But again, looks are deceiving. So this is a great time to be resilient and resourceful, and you feel like maybe perhaps you've exhausted all reserves, but this is a great time to conserve your energy. So again, looks are deceiving. So I feel like this is an opportunity to kind of like come back around full circle and start to check in with yourself in terms of ideas, change, because when things feel kind of stagnant, it's stagnant for a reason, okay? So let me explain. This particular card also shows up when maybe perhaps you keep looking for a job, or you keep trying the same thing over and over again, or looking in the same company that you're working at. And maybe you've just hit the ceiling for as far as you can really truly reach in terms of advancement and growth, right? But I feel like when this card shows up, it's kind of like you've outgrown the space that you're in, the environment that you are in. And I believe most of the time when this card shows up, it's like may have something to do with work, ideas, projects, things like this. And I feel like some of you may feel like you're giving it your all or your best effort, and it's just like nothing is yielding any like opportunity or response, or, you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, like, but notice how she's like kind of looking out and she sees a little bit of green here. So she's like, if I keep going, I might get that one thing. So be careful of stepping into lying to yourself about self-deceptive things like, okay, it'll get better, and then you just keep going and going, and then pretty soon there's nothing left to give. Okay, detailed message from your spirits is fire ignited. So you're just like, okay, I'm awake now. So you've been going through this, so something has woken you up, and now the fire has been ignited. Okay. It speaks about seasons that we go through in terms of, you know, when things are really, really fast paced and it, you know, we just can't seem to catch our breath. It's like it's too much. It's coming at us from all different directions, from opportunities to phone calls to emails. And again, I feel like this is really correlated to work, okay? There's some kind of passion that's kind of been asleep or dormant, and it's like you've been re-inspired for something as the fire has been ignited. Keep in mind, 1 and an 8 equals a 9, and this is a 9 year, okay? Just something else to think about. Don't overthink it, don't underthink it. Just meet your guides, angels, and ancestors halfway, okay? If this doesn't click or resonate, it click or resonate to someone close to you. And maybe perhaps you just felt like, you know, your time is up. Like there's no more going forward. Like, you know, you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. So in this case, you found a way out of this through some kind of new opportunity or some conversation that just kind of clicked that spark in you, and it just came out of nowhere, okay? This could have been an opportunity or a quote or a book or a trip or like a new relationship, a new partnership, meaning not just with love or romance, but with business, right? And you're just like, oh my God, like, where have I been? I've been asleep this whole entire time. But of course, this being a 9 year, there might have a little bit of like some newfound knowledge type of feeling, because 9 energy is very Sagittarius. And to me, the energy of Sag is the divine keeper of knowledge. So I feel like if you accumulated some knowledge or some experience that allowed you to retrieve that knowledge, that lit the match and set that fire and reignited something within you. And we went from like, oh my God, like, it's just been dry as a desert, to like, woo, the fire's going, like I'm ready to go, right? So all of a sudden things are starting to propel forward and heating up. For some of you that chose pair number 2, there may be like some kind of crossroads that you've been at, like where you're even questioning, like, am I like, is this my purpose? Like, or am I supposed to do something else? Keep in mind, again, that Capricorn full moon just transpired, and many of us were trying to deepen that connection to our purpose, where we're not so much in this like row of like, accumulating more and more and more for material gain, where we're much more in alignment and choosing that this feels correct for a life purpose. And you were in this like big question space, like, am I really going to continue doing this? Because I'm burnt out, I'm tired, and I feel like this like exhaustion come over me as I've been feeling like I'm just so burnt out that like, how can I feel inspired? And then something just happened. Something came up per conversation, something you're talking to a family member. Because sometimes, keep in mind too, people come into our lives just briefly and open up conversations. Could be a complete stranger, and sometimes God answers our prayers through other people. So maybe somebody opens something up within you and you're like, you know what, I could do this, but I'm going to go about it in a different way. So all of a sudden that passion is reignited again in some form or fashion. And could be too, you're at a crossroads where you're in the same company and you're just going in a different direction, or now you're starting to see with more clarity that you could go in a different direction. You're not locked into this one position where you can never grow or evolve. Keep in mind too, if you look at the illustration here, you see how she's kind of like not really seeing that she's, that there's this like eagle or bird above her. And typically when we see birds, that is spirit trying to guide us. And she's not really paying attention. She's more interested in this green over here going, okay, it's got to get better. Okay. So most importantly, try not to be self-deceptive during this week, like where you're lying to yourself about the outcome. Okay. But this inspiration is needed as we are moving forward with this energy, leading to the new moon in Leo, because that's really going to inspire a lot of us in some way where we're like, woo, we get this like life force put back in us. Okay. Which is very Leo with this fire ignition. Okay. Just, wow. It's like, okay, I can get through this. I'll be all right. But keep in mind, we have a retrograde going on too. So it's like we could be revisiting something we thought about or considered, because that's all retrogrades really are, is where we go back to something that we overlooked, or we just decided, oh, that's crazy, I'll never do that. It's like something that we need to consider or need to factor in or need to do, just as something else to think about as well. This card often shows up too, what Spirit is saying, that it's like it comes to kind of like show you that this journey that you've been on, and again, I feel like this is very career oriented, that it's there to teach you to become more resilient and to adapt more to harsher circumstances. So all this consistent effort that you've been making is really to get to the oasis or the desired outcome, right? So if you've been feeling very burnt out, you're just being required right now to conserve your energy, until something else comes up, which is obviously this fire ignited, like this reignited passion, right? Because I keep getting this message of burnout or like exhaustion. You know what I mean? Like, what next? Like, I don't have it in me anymore. Or I haven't had it in me in some time. If you go back maybe 9 months from now, or maybe like think about themes going back to September, which is a 9-month, or maybe this is regarding a Libra or a Virgo, because the 9-month includes those two signs. Okay, just another way of looking at this, just due to 1 + 8 = 9. Of course, this is a 9 year, so I feel like much of this energy is really heavy with this particular dry desert card. But you have to understand that when we feel like this, it's because we're being asked to conserve our energy and slow down, to really recognize how far we have come and to appreciate those moments in gratitude. Because if we're moving 100 miles an hour, how can you really sit back and just go, wow, look what I've accomplished. Look how far I've come. And look how much stronger I have become. Look how much wiser I have become. Oh, this candle's really flickering, and a big puff of smoke just went up as I was talking. But my point is, it's just like, take a moment now to really like appreciate how far you've come, you know, with this fire ignited. Okay, so a lot of these themes coming up leading towards, especially the 24th. I know, again, this is from 7/14 to 7/21, but 7/24 is the new moon in Leo. Okay, so and then also pay attention to themes and events leading up to 9 days, or maybe the 18th of this month of July. Okay, just another thing to look at. Maybe there's an opportunity, conversation, email, text, you know, just, I feel like somebody could just reach out their hand and help or lead you to something. Or you just might discover something with this Uranus and Gemini energy, like some kind of communication, like out of nowhere. You're like, oh my God. And then you feel like you can get to where you want to be without this dread. I feel like for some of you, from what I'm hearing from Spirit, is many of you have found like your truth, right? Your authenticity, especially when you're operating from that truth and that authenticity. That is where you find and receive the most success. And that's oftentimes where the fire is ignited. So as long as you're leaning into the real source of your inner truth, you will never have a problem, right? And you will find yourself happy again, joyful again, that little more of that pep in your step versus like a lot of dread. Okay, but I feel like at the same time, you know, whatever it is that you're going through at this moment, you know, it's not going to be found in the conditions that you've been in. So it definitely feels like an environmental change, which is kind of like the themes that have been going on here, you know, for this week. Like, what is going on in your environment that's just like where you feel like, oh my God, it's like somebody that needs chapstick and your lips are all dry. It's like you're just like this, like dried up. It's not resonating. I don't know what this is, right? But this is where you get to choose to do the real work and look past the surface of things, right? And you're going to discover these answers deep within yourself, okay? So right now may not feel like the most productive time, but something is on its way. Either it just happened and you just felt this recent like surge of energy where the fire was reignited, or something is coming close to that right now, or maybe events or themes leading up to the 18th. Okay, so just something else to think about for those of you that chose pair number 2. Dolls, and for those of you that chose pair number 3, which is this set right here, let's go ahead and turn over the first card of the set. Let's see what your guides, angels, and ancestors have to say. And the message is Ghostlands. Okay, so this is this means you are gripping the past. Okay, like you want so much control, but you cannot change the past, because if you don't let go, you will just be dragged. So the question is, what is it that you're holding on to? What is it that you're going back to? So there's no substance in the past. Okay, there's no substance in the future. Of course, I know we all like to manifest and we like to kind of put that out there, but we do let it go when we want it to truly happen, because you have to get out of the universe's way. You have to get out of the ancestors' way for it to kind of, become real, right? So the most powerful place you can be is in the now. So that's where you need to put your attention, and that's where the magic happens, okay? And this is where we are in center, is in the present moment. Center is coming from the heart space. It always tells me to remember that, like, if you're way too ahead of yourself, right, you could lose your footing. So it's great to kind of like have some, like, even when you're looking back, right, there's like a little bit of nostalgia, right? But when you are truly just focused on like where you're way ahead of yourself in that way, where you're longing for something better, you lose sight of the miracle in the moment. So Spirit is trying to encourage you to avoid that. You know what I mean? Just be in the present moment. That is where you're supposed to be at. So not sure what you're holding on to, but temptation. So going backwards, you're tempted to go back to something. Maybe an old, love or romance, like you're thinking about reaching out to someone, or an old way of living, old patterns, okay, because it felt safe, right? We're in the midst of Cancer season and we want to go back to what's safe. And Cancer, the sign itself, speaks of memory, right? And a lot of the attachments that we've been having are really starting to kind of purge up, or did purge up, around that full moon in Capricorn, which brings up karmic lessons and patterns, right? But in those lessons are truly where the blessings are, but we just simply cannot hold on to the past, right? Or we're longing for something better as we look forward. Now, it's great to desire things, right? But be careful of being so far ahead of yourself that, again, you forget the true gift, which is in the present moment. So think about right now themes going on, or things that have been going on in the last 3 days, in the last 3 months, maybe starting in the month of March, as that is a 3-month. Okay, March also includes the 2 signs of Pisces and Aries. So maybe there is something that's coming up around themes around those 2 signs. Maybe you know an Aries, maybe you know a Pisces, maybe you are an Aries, maybe you are a Pisces. I'm just saying, don't overthink this, don't underthink it, just meet the message halfway. I was also talking about maybe there's like more than 2 people involved, like a third party, like maybe this is like a love triangle type thing, or maybe this is a past love or romance that you feel like you want to lean into or go back to or reconnect with because you feel like you're missing something. But of course, we all want to go back to what feels most safe, and sometimes those patterns create karma. That's why it keeps going round and round like a merry-go-round. So be careful of getting into these cycles. We can always learn from the past, but my goodness, if you keep gripping it so tight, you know, you're just going to be dragged through this. So Spirit is saying, just try to stay in the present moment, because this is about grounding yourself this week. So be careful of just your mind racing, like where you're racing ahead in anxiety, or you're going backwards in depression and grief, right? So maybe you didn't have some kind of closure and you're tempted to go back to something, or go back to someone or a circumstance or situation, like you're playing old tapes in your mind about, I should have said this, or what if it went like this, or I could have done this, I could have, should have, would have. Forget it. It's just throwing your footing off here, right? There's no substance in any of it except for where you are right now. So learn from the past, okay? And just imagine a beautiful future. Yeah, it's always good to imagine that, but right now you must live in the here and now, is what Spirit is saying. Hope you enjoyed the collective energy report for this week from 7/14 to 7/21. I hope you guys stay tuned for next week's energy report. We got a new moon in Leo coming up next week. If you enjoy my content, please don't forget to click like and subscribe. If you're interested in any more content that I may have, please check me out at Instagram. I'm over there at Astré Astoundance. I'm often, posting stuff in my stories, lots of updates and posts and funny things that I put on my reels for the astrology forecasts and so forth. So if you're interested in a personal reading, please check out my website from my rates to availability. 30-minute, 60-minute, 90-minute readings at AstréAstoundance.net. Thank you so much.